Okay. I guess you guys will have to get used to me, talking in the dark. At odd hours in the night. Because that's kind of how things are gonna be like for me. Because I have terrible insomnia. I can't sleep. And the reason why I can't sleep tonight is because I'm very concerned. I'm very worried right now because I received a notice, a 10-day notice to pay, or like I don't know, a note that basically is gonna, like, I could be evicted if I don't pay whatever amount of rent that I owe the landlord. This is kind of an ongoing thing with I've been dealing with them over. I don't know if people may or may not have deduced already, but I am officially on welfare. I went on welfare before COVID happened, right? I went on welfare before COVID happened. About, I think it was January of last year, 2019, was when I officially went on. Or no. It was January 2020 that I, was switched. I was on welfare, and then I'm still technically on welfare, but I'm in a different category of welfare, and that's for, like, a disability welfare, which is a different sort of thing, and my disability being one of anxiety, depression, and ADHD, really. But that, complicated by a lot of adverse circumstances in my life, yeah. But I won't go into that too much right now, because what I'm talking about here is that I am worried. Because after how many months? 9 months of not actually having to pay rent or whatever. Now they want me to. They're saying that I owe them what, $12,000 of unpaid rent that I am categorically refusing to fucking pay because I don't have the means to pay. This is kicking a person when they're down. Okay. It's one thing to make someone pay when they have the means to pay, but when they don't have the means to pay, then that's exploitation. That's tyranny. That's oppression. And the thing is, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Obviously, I'm worried, I'm concerned, because they could technically evict me. But my being on welfare means that they can't really do anything to get the money back, apart from harassing me indefinitely for the money until I do. If they're betting on that, but that's very cruel. I don't know. It is a very, like, heartless way of going about things, I think. Given what is going on in my life and the blows that I've been dealt in life, right? And if they don't know it yet, they will know it soon. Soon enough, when the truth comes out, But, I mean, for now, I have to worry about, like, I have this to worry about, because the thing is that, yes, I haven't been paying rent for 9 months. But at the same time, my refrigerator hasn't been working, or it hasn't been turned on. It broke over 10 months ago, and my fridge has not been on and has not been in working order for the last 10 months, and they haven't fixed it. They haven't come in here to fix it. And a rental unit, like, you can't rent a unit to someone without a working fridge. So as long as they don't fix my fridge, I'm not paying my rent. That's all there is to that. But I just think about the kind of moral fiber, or the lack of it in the people around me, and it just it's very disappointing. Frankly, disgusting to me, because the gentleman that oversees the caretaker of the building manager, basically the resident building manager, okay, whose name is Alberto. I don't care if I'm gonna out him. He's, I don't know, he's a small man, small-minded man, not a very smart man. But you don't need to be smart to have a sense of morality and to be a person of ethics, right? To be a person that listens to their conscience and strives to be a person of character. Because no doubt, based on my impression of him, is that, he's another joker. He's just another joker. He's a small-minded, mean, of mean spirit. I mean, clearly he's seen some shit in his life too. That his life hasn't been easy, because he obviously is also not from this place. That is to say, he is of from somewhere in Latin America, and he came here in late, I don't know when, but he came here as nearly as an adult, and so he I don't know, I don't know why he's in this job, why he took this job, but he's obviously unhappy in this job, doing this job, right? But you give a person like him a little bit of power, and it goes straight to their heads, and and they start to abuse that power and use it for for their own gratifications, right? But I mean, haven't gotten to know this guy. I've lived here for 6 years, right? So he wasn't always here. There was another guy that was here before, and he was universally hated. And so the landlord fired him, I'm assuming, and then replaced him with this guy, this little fellow, whose name is Alberto. And frankly, he's a creep. Yes, he's another creep. He may be more of like a harmless creep, but he's still a freaking creep. And I kind of tried to befriend this guy because I'm a friendly person. I tried to befriend him, especially during that period, been like, yeah, a couple months ago, like many months ago, I was going through a very rough spot and I had no one, absolutely no one to talk to. And so having no one to talk to, I resorted to talking to him, and I kind of shared a little bit of my own, you know, my difficulties, what was going on in my life, and kind of opened up a little bit to him. And out of necessity, because I have no other options, right? Well, yeah, so, but then, you know, as I got to know him and everything, I don't know, like, I just, I just got the sense that I wasn't gonna, that it wasn't safe to open up to this guy any more than I already did, and I needed, so then I, decided against it, and I just, kind of had an about face, and I just, turned him out, in a sense, and I didn't turn him out, because, yeah, I obviously can't do that. I don't think I'm making any sense right now, but my point is that, you know, obviously this guy sees my condition. He knows something about me, that I am all on my own, and I have no, you know, I'm all on my own. I'm pretty vulnerable. I'm in a vulnerable situation, right? I may not act like someone that, that I don't act, I'm not someone that, you know, needs to be coddled, or that I need, a lot of outside assistance. In fact, I've never actually asked for outside assistance. And I could go on like this indefinitely too. But it's clear to everybody that, objectively speaking, that, I am in a very vulnerable position. And somehow I have managed, through sheer perseverance, right, to arrive at this point today without any help whatsoever. I mean, my story is destined to be written in a book or something, hopefully by me, because it's just so unbelievable and stuff. But anyways, and then so it's clear to me, it's just clear to me that he, you know, he was taking the piss. He's taking the piss. And I remember I likened him to a snake once, and he kind of chuckled to himself. I remember, because I pay very close attention to people's micro expressions and their nonverbal, sort of behavioral, you know, behavior, their nonverbal behavior. Okay, and that says a lot about a person. Anyways, so I knew not to trust this guy. But I know that he was trying to take the piss, or, you know, possibly exploit a situation to his own advantage. In other words, seeing someone who's in a vulnerable position, and him being in a position of power, he was trying to leverage that power and trying to use it to his advantage. Wink, wink. You know what I mean with that. I don't need to go into I don't need to go any more into that. But anyways, I didn't bring it up, but like soon after COVID happened, because right before COVID happened, I'd been in kind of like I was fighting with them, because they were threatening me with eviction again, and I didn't have the means to pay, and I was behind on rent payments, but I was doing my level best to kind of continue to pay them, and still it wasn't enough. They were still coming at me about it. But with COVID halting evictions, it was like heaven, smiling down on me, right? And it was, it meant that it just halted all evictions, and a ban on evictions came into effect. I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, but the point is that he kind of like, there were 3 occasions, okay? 3 occasions where he was like, he planted himself right in the communal parking lot, little parking lot that right outside of our building, little apartment complex. Okay, he planted himself right there at just the moment when I was passing by with my, because I have to go everywhere by foot. I don't own a car, I don't have a vehicle, and I don't have a vehicle because I have no means of getting a vehicle. If I don't have someone to kind of vouch for me in that sense. And so this kind of goes into how fucked up society is, this particular society that I live in really is. That someone with diabolical intentions, someone with evil intentions, can kind of get away with this all of these evil acts, and no one bats an eye. They're doing it in plain sight. Anyways, he kind of just stood there. I don't know what he was doing. I wouldn't even acknowledge him, because it was clear that he was standing there. I don't know how long he was standing there for, but he clearly had been standing there, waiting to catch sight of me, or in hopes of me acknowledging him. He didn't know when I was gonna come out, because I come and go at random points, and so he'd been standing there. I don't know how long he'd been standing there, but he was waiting for me, and this happened 3 times. And no, it's not me. I wouldn't make this up. Why would I make this stuff up? Because whatever it is, I don't care. Whatever message he was trying to convey to me, okay, by that, by making me see that. He wanted me to see that he'd been standing there and waiting for me. I don't care what the hell he was trying to convey, maybe to subliminally convey to me that he felt contrite to a certain degree, possibly. But I had no time for that kind of claptrap. Is it claptrap? I don't know. And I refused to even acknowledge that he was even there. I saw him from my peripheral vision, right? He's just creepy as hell. Because this was happened, because and I've mentioned too. Because prior to the third time that I saw him do that, like standing there out, clearly waiting for someone, clearly waiting for me. Okay, 3rd time I saw him do that was in August 3rd precisely. Okay, nobody can fault me for not not having my dates correct, because I've been very careful about recording this stuff, marking them into making a note of it. So on August 3rd, I got a surprise visit from this guy accompanied by my mother. Yes. They knocked on my door, and thankfully I had my my latch, my safety latch on. So, and I remember I was I saw him through the peephole. I looked through the peephole. I saw him standing there, and then I opened the door slightly with the latch on, and I remember I asked him. The moment I opened the door, he said, "Can you come out? Can you come out?" That was all he said, and I said, "No, I'm not coming out." And he looked taken aback. And at that moment, I remember looking to his side, and lo and behold, there was my mother standing there, looking very like, she looked really pissed off. But she, like she looked really, like, her face was dark and, like, yeah. Anyways. Yeah, so the two of them came, made a visit to my apartment. And my mother came by. She did so under the guise of wanting, again, offering her help. Help, by air quotes, help. Which isn't really help. This is classic, this is psychopathic kind of like, carrot dangling. This is the deviousness in action here. And this dumb, stupid fuck, stupid fucking Alberto, probably wanted to, my best estimate, okay, like my guess is what happened was that my mother approached this Alberto guy, okay, because she had his number and all of that information. She had kind of set those things in place very early on. My mother's deeply devious, okay. Anyway, so she had his number and all of that. So she approached him first, because she knew that I was, because I reached out to my youngest brother for help, but I did it. I did that because I needed some money to pay my rent, and I was very worried. I was doing everything I could right at that time, and I thought, this is my last resort. I have to ask him, and I asked him for about $3,000 to pay the rent and to so that I could be in the black again, or yeah. But then at the critical moment, the last moment, COVID halted all evictions, and I didn't have to go through with it. And then upon thinking about it further, I realized that it was the right move. Like, I shouldn't, there was something told me that I shouldn't, I was setting myself up for trouble if I accepted help from my brother, because I had this uncanny sense that my mother was, well, that she was again pulling strings, and she was somehow going in between. She was up to something, and lo and behold, this was in April, and in August of this year, August 3rd, she and this doofus Alberto came to my door, wanting to know. My mother was she came up to my door, and I think I remember the first thing that she said to me upon making eye contact with me, because the minute I saw her, so I said, "What the fuck is she doing here?" And my mother, she kind of offhandedly said, "Oh, he called me. He was the one that called me. Yeah, he called me." And I knew immediately that that was you know, bald-faced, that was a bald-faced lie, because he wouldn't have called her. Why the fuck would he call her? How is she even, why is she inserting herself into this? Okay, if I owe these people rent, it's between me and them. So clearly my mom had approached this landlord, and she probably kind of wheedled him, or said that, yeah, I'm worried about my daughter. Has she been paying her rent? Is she up to date with her rent and stuff like that? And, you know, Mr. Doofus here, he obviously wanted to know too. Like, he just kind of, well, what, you know, it is her mother, so what, you know. And I do want to know what this girl is up to in there, because, you know, he's, you know, quite nosy in a sense. So then he led the wolf to my goddamn door. That's what happened. He led the wolf to my goddamn door. Yeah, anyway, so what happened that day was that I basically would refuse to either to meet them out. I wasn't gonna leave my unit. I was not gonna leave my unit to have a face-to-face meeting with them, because they wanted to say, can you come out and talk to us? And I said no. I said no, absolutely not. And if you're gonna threaten me with eviction, where are your papers? Because where are the papers? You can't just haul someone out of their home. Okay, like anyways, it ended with me kind of threatening to call the police on my mom. I told my mom, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the police. And and upon hearing that I was going to threaten to call the police, Alberto scurried off. Okay, by the time I closed the door on them, and by the time I came back and checked again, my mom was still there. Because this is yet another kind of like a pertinent, little significant observation that I have, was that my mother was cool as a freaking cucumber, for lack of a better term. She was just cool under pressure, which tells you something, because Phoebe, having done a little Googling and done a little bit of reading about psychopathy, specifically female psychopaths, they have this eerie kind of, they have this kind of like they're kind of, they don't react the same way that normal people do to things that would normally frighten people or disgust them. That they have this uncanny steadiness, that it's something to do with their nervous system, that they don't have the same responses. It's like a blunted kind of response. So basically, when I threatened the police on her, obviously, you know, but she probably has connections with the police, so she wasn't terribly concerned about me calling the police on her, right? That, you know, that would have been at the back of her mind, right? But also that you could tell that she wasn't she didn't react the same way that the other guy did, that most people would react, and they would react and like they would become agitated, and they just automatically kind of like submit to authority. And you can tell that my mother's reaction to authority has always been that way, either very, impassive and and just like oh, I'm all over the place right now. The point is that she has always had this kind of like a disrespect for all forms of authority, right? And that this is yet another kind of sign that got kind of pointed me in the direction that brought me to the conclusion that I came to have about her, right? That pretty much helped cement, right, the realization that I had back in May of this year, when I just had this massive download that clarified everything, my whole life for me in that moment. And I can't even, I still, it was just, truly an act of God, I would say. Anyways, so that was August 3rd. Anyways, a lot of rambling. So I don't know what may happen, what might happen. As far as how I'm gonna respond to them, like should anything happen, because rent is due the 1st of every month, and the one thing about this place is that the rent here is reasonable. It's always been it's been the same amount since the day I moved in here. It hasn't changed. The landlord has never increased it, and that is the one thing that you can kind of that you can give him credit for, I guess. But I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. I don't want this to be hounding me. Like, I don't need this right now. And it's just yet another slap in the face that I have to contend with. And it's very frustrating because I also know that what recourse do I have really at this point? I have to suffer with it. I have to suffer through it. I have to power through it. And it is unfair. It's completely unfair. It is not fair. Everything that's happened to me, the enormity of what is happening to me seems is lost on most people here, almost everyone here. That's why I don't like this place. But I want to try to keep this, to be like succinct, and then like try to keep it all rein it in as far as like not to be too like tangential and like all over the place. So I'm just trying to, yeah. I should probably stop talking now. Thanks for listening.